Sonic. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Take Two Podcast. This is episode 214, and yes, folks, we will always be at least 95% effective if you inject us. Damn it, I messed up my intro. I waited like 5 days for that, and I messed it up. I'm Brian. That's Tony.
We are definitely infected in our country, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? To start off the show, I want to send a quick happy birthday to two listeners I know will be listening today, and that is Danny DeVito and Martin Scorsese. So thank you, boys, both for listening. Happy birthday to you. Did you know Marty Scorsese is 78, Danny DeVito is 76?
Really? Wow.
I actually thought they were older, to be honest.
Well, then good for them. Hey, happy late 70th birthday, even though we thought you were way older.
Yeah, quick, favorite movie of either of those? Putting you on the spot.
I would not have guessed that old for DeVito for sure. Scorsese, Goodfellas, DeVito, Batman Returns.
Okay. I'm going to go Taxi Driver for Scorsese and DeVito. Twins?
Okay. Why not?
Take it. Also, you know what made me feel old this week? 30th anniversary of Home Alone. Whoa!
Crazy.
30 years. That's insane. So
that's nuts. And Macaulay Culkin's never aged one bit since then.
I feel old. It was funny. I was reading an article about the movie, though, and making of, and Chris Columbus said that the scene where Marv gets shot with the BB, they actually paid someone to go in and like paint that, like because there was no CGI effects. Like I've never noticed it, but I guess they were able to like just pay somebody to like paint on the film like the effect of him.
No kidding.
Hitting the BB or something. I was like, wow, now I want to rewatch that just to see if I can pick up on that.
I thought you were going to say that he was actually shot in that. He was like, you know what, just shoot me.
We didn't have the effects, so we just shot him.
This is method acting at its highest degree. All right, here we go, folks. Episode 214. We have a couple of good reviews for you. Tony's got the brand new Mutants. He got to see that. Got a couple of documentaries we're going to talk about. 2 first takes that we will quickly chat about. And Tony has some more unsolved mysteries that we're going to break down. We have a fantastic interview later on in the show, just before our first break after the reviews, with Andrew Rossow and Mark Pelligrino. Yes, I know you know that name, Mark Pelligrino, from 13 Reasons Why and Supernatural and Lost. Excuse me. They are championing this project called the Guardian Project, and it's all a big anti-bullying campaign. I will say no more because you are going to get the full interview later on. It is about 18 minutes long, but it is well worth it. I promise all of you folks when you listen there. For you YouTubers, thank you for joining on. Thank you for watching. You might get back-to-back YouTube weeks out of us. Thank you for subscribing, liking. Look how beautiful his face is.
I hope you enjoy my bed head, because this is just out of bed, baby. This is nothing.
If you angle it right, buddy, you look like a saint or an angel. Yeah, it's because you got like the halo with a... Yeah, Saint Tony. Words I've never heard before ever in life. All right. Promotions. In your feed right now is Sean Connery. Our spotlight on Mr. Sean Connery. We did a little bittersweet one because of his rest in peace from last week. And so we said, you know what, let's adjust our schedule and give you a spotlight all about Mr. James Bond. And we let you guys know that there's a whole community, generations of people that don't even know him as James Bond in a good way, because he's such a phenomenal actor. And we want you guys to listen to that. It's in your feed as we speak right now. Patreon.com. Take Two Podcast for you exclusive listeners, as low as $1 a month. You just got a brand new Patreon in there for best movie scores of all time. That was fun to break down. There's even a little added musical flavor in that episode for you to listen to. Join our Patreon right now. $1 a month, 4 different tier levels, all the way up to $15 a month. Right now, Lisa, Ryan, Katz, Chris, Vaughn, Kevin, Roy, and Craig. Thank all of you folks so very much for being our patrons. And I will say this, Lisa, not only were you our very first patron, you've been steadfast since day one. You're the only girl. We need to change that, folks. Okay, it's Me Too equality. Let's get some more ladies on here. Okay, and gentlemen, we'll take you, of course, as well. And last thing for me is ratings and reviews, guys. We definitely need those, want those, love those. 5-star rating review on either the iTunes or the Podbean or wherever you listen to our show. We would appreciate it. Tone?
Yeah, just to piggyback off the Patreon thing. Lisa, like you said, she's been there since day one. I think we owe her. She needs to reach out. She needs to give us a Patreon requested, review topic. Give us something, Lisa. You've been our first and our longest fan, so please do that. Reach out to us. Let us know. And you guys are missing out. That Scores episode was a lot of fun, I thought. We had a lot of fun. I feel bad when the regular public can't hear it, and there's only so many people, 10 people or whatever, that are able to get access to it. So I'd love more people to be able to hear that. And if you feel like you're missing out, try us out for a month. It's only $1. What are you going to miss? And you automatically get at least 2 episodes new to you that 1 month. Plus you get access to all the old ones. So it's basically 10 cents an episode or something at this point that you're paying for if you just do a 1 month trial. So
little spoiler / teaser, in December you're going to get 3 Patreon episodes at least. We have another bonus one. Roy from the Realm is going to drop us another one, so you're going to get at least 3 in December. And I mean, listen, at any moment, Tony and I, our Christmas, energies may kick in, and we might just be like, hey, turn the mics on. Let's just do something Christmassy. I have a feeling that may go. We'll see, because we get a little jazzed up around Christmas time. We'll see what happens. But also, so I believe we're at almost 30 episodes on Patreon right now. I think it's a 27.
Sure.
So by the time we get to December, you'll be pushing that right there. So what someone could do for only $1, you could just listen to an episode a day for 1 month.
Get them all, baby. Yeah, get them all.
And then you just knocked them all out. And then after that month, you're like, all right, should I move forward or not? Hopefully you do. Yeah. But
that's actually like bad business for us. I mean, that's dumb.
Yeah, I should have
but
said that.
You guys could easily take advantage of that. For $1, you get those bonus episodes. So hopefully you guys enjoy and take advantage. And just to shout out a couple other possible new listeners this week, Kim G. I'm going to throw your name out there. I know you reached out to me and said you were listening to a new episode. I hope I'm not embarrassing now to you. And I'm different probably than you've known me off mic. So welcome. I hope you enjoy the show. And also, Matt Lewinsky, I hope that you have also given us a shot. We talked to you on socials this week, and hopefully you're giving us a shot. So just wanted to shout out some new listeners.
Kim G is way better than Kim K.
Yeah, definitely.
I already know. Never even better. All right, other ways that you guys can meet us is through all of our socials, at Take Two Podcast for Twitter. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. You've got the email, take2podcast@gmail.com, or call, leave a text, 434-602-1931 if you want to send us a message there. Of course, Facebook and Instagram, follow both of those pages. Don't forget, and I've actually heard from multiple folks on this in the past week, with Facebook, you have the regular page, our regular Facebook page. That's awesome. The regular Take Two Podcast page. But then there's also the group page, and that is listed as Take Two Universe. That group page is more the interactivity. So some fans I spoke to this week didn't realize that if you want to post something to get people chatting and interacting and conversing, try and go the group page route, because you'll just get more interactivity there. Both work. Both are fun. Follow them both.
Yeah. I think if you post something to our regular page, it won't show up in everyone's general feeds. Whereas if you do it on the universe and it's a group that you've accepted into, you'll see much more interactivity. And we had some good interaction there this week with a little Christmas movie, debate that was going on, a little top 3. I like that. So we got a good discussion going. So please keep that going, folks, and feel free to share in there.
Let's keep things going with our poll of the week that drops every Thursday on all of those socials. All right, buddy. How are these results?
Yeah. This week was a Friday the 13th inspired. It was Friday the 13th, the day after I posted the poll. So I said, what are you watching on this Friday the 13th? Gave a couple options of Freaky. Freaky released in the theaters, new one, and it was, horror themed to go with the Friday the 13th. The Masters, a big sporting event going on this past weekend.
Tradition like any other.
There you go. Mandalorian dropping a new episode every Friday, which we love. And then just the classics, Friday the 13th movies. Wanted to see how much love we got for that out there. So the winner was actually Mandalorian, which I think for a while there, it kind of went back and forth between a couple different options. It was a close vote because I think Freaky might have been in the lead off the bat. But yeah, Mandalorian won out with 34% of the vote over Freaky, 25% of the vote. Friday the 13th, 23%. So that kind of had like a late surge there and caught up. And then the Masters only 18%. Makes sense. We're a movie show, so maybe not as many sports fans following our feed or whatever. But and then we had a couple other interactions where people reached out and said Friday the 13th movies. Craig and Sam said they were going to be watching some Friday the 13th. And Chris was torn. He said Mandalorian and Masters, which I don't hate. Actually, I watched 3 of the 4 options this weekend. I never made it to Freaky, but I did watch a little bit of those other 3 options myself. So yeah. And then Ryan L. Terry also was torn. He said Freaky Friday the 13th. So I think he did a little bit of both as well.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, that was a good combo because you had a bunch of different options on there. I think that 18%, there's 18 holes of golf. That's pretty cool.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure that
that's
18%.
That's almost how many strokes he won by as well, right?
Very close. Broke the record. Of course, people were like, oh, it's tainted because it was the fall and the weather was different. Whatever. Dude was dominant the whole time. What's crazy about that, and this happens, it's funny, 2 of the guys finished at 15 under, which is normally a phenomenal Masters score.
Sure.
And they still lost by 5.
Yeah,
they got to be like, you got to be kidding me. any other year, and I would have dominated. I'd be wearing a green jacket. But good for Dustin
That's what
Johnson.
happens. Yeah, that's what happens when you sleep next to Paulina Gretzky, I think. So
Speaking of, so my sister was not familiar with his relationship, his marriage, all that, and we're watching, and Paulina runs out onto the green, and she was like, "Whoa, that's his wife? That's Wayne Gretzky's daughter? Oh, wow, okay, good for him." And I was like, "Hang on, wait till she turns around, because Paulina looks exactly like her dad in the
she looks
face."
like she's been knocked into the boards a couple times.
Yep, she looks like Wayne Gretzky right in the face, and then my
Yeah.
sister's like, "Oh, yeah." But
And anytime we talk about Wayne Gretzky, I'm gonna constantly bring up All Stars. I used to love All Stars, the cartoon. Do you remember that back in the
yes.
day?
Oh, when he'd click his heels together and the skates would
Love
pop
it.
out.
Love it so much. Love it so much. I wish that show was back. Maybe we need to reboot, baby.
I'm down. They
Could you
review
imagine
everything
like
else.
Ovechkin or somebody like on All Stars? You'd have to subtitle him.
You have Ovechkin, Trout, and LeBron. Probably.
Yeah.
Never mind. Don't reboot it.
Maybe we'll leave it on the shelf.
All right, let's start off with these reviews. Let's get rocking with New Mutants.
You got me in a good mood. We got going on the show there, and then you were like, "Yeah, talk about that shit movie you watched."
I'm proud of you for watching this.
I'm proud of me too, because honestly, I didn't think that this existed for the longest time. That's why I had to watch it. It was like the white whale of movies to me. I was like, I need to see this. And if you remember when the trailer first dropped, late 2017 probably was when the first trailer dropped, maybe early 2000, maybe too early 2018, whatever. But when that first trailer dropped, I was pumped, and I loved the idea of this project from the get-go. To be a horror-inspired superhero film. We hadn't really got that besides maybe like a Blade, something like that. So to do that in this modern era and try and work it into the Marvel, universe and, the X-Men series, which has already been pretty well established, I was pumped. I was like, this is gonna be great. I can't wait. The trailer looked good. This was actually first a deal made for this 2015. So this has been around in the works since before we were a show, which is ridiculous to me. So just being able to watch it now, I felt accomplished. And I'll tell you what, the most interesting part about it was reading about the making of and things like that. And just the background of the movie, because the movie itself, it's not good, man. It's not good. I think this is a lot of potential that just went awry is what this is. It's a perfect example of that. A great elevator pitch of a movie. Like I said, horror inspired superheroes. I can see Josh Boone saying, we're going to make The Breakfast Club meets The Shining or whatever, something like that. And it sounds great on paper, but it just didn't work, man. I was bored through a lot of it. I didn't care about the characters at all. And it just stinks of a movie that was made years ago, because you look at it and you're like, oh, these were kind of like hot and coming actors. Like, I get it why they were cast in 2017. Anya Taylor-Joy hadn't really done that much yet. Maisie Williams was still coming off Game of Thrones, still in the making of Game of Thrones, wasn't even that big yet for her. So I get it, and it should have been a good movie, like I said, but for me, it just wasn't. It really wasn't. And I was more interested in, like I said, reading about the backstory and the different things that were going to happen. And if you don't know what New Mutants is, it is based in X-Men lore. It's about these 5 teens who are locked in a facility with this doctor. They're trying to deal with their new powers, where they came from, and they're also dealing with their own little tragedies on the side, which honestly, I thought the tragedies that they were kind of dealing with, each person's kind of thing that brought on their powers, could have been interesting, but they never really delved into the backstories of either character either. This was a sub hour and a half runtime. I think it was 127 before the credits. Wow. There was room to get into a little bit more backstory with the characters. And Josh Boone was on record saying he wanted to pay pretty close tribute to the source material and get a diverse cast. So he did that, and got a couple people in here to fit the roles correctly. But then he also took heat for kind of changing one of them up and not doing it correctly. So that was another thing. You're forcing these actors to do terrible accents. That was really bad. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the source material at all, so I don't know if Anya Taylor-Joy needed to have a Russian accent, but it sucked. And I hate to say that because I love her and I think she's great, but it was really distracting and bad. I don't know. I just really didn't like this movie, and I don't know if just the way it was caught up in the system, the merger, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle. They kept moving it back. They didn't want to release it near Deadpool 2, then they didn't want to release it near another movie they were doing, whatever. So they kept moving it back, and then talking about reshoots once Disney got hold of it. That actually never happened. So I wonder if the reshoots would have helped it or hurt it. I don't know. But yeah, man, it's not good. It's not good. It really should have been good. And on paper, I think it's a good pitch. The one pro I will say is, I was watching it and I didn't think that it seemed as horror inspired as they claimed. But there's one character who their background, their tragedy kind of brings on their power, and the part of it was scary. They have this character in there called like the Smiling Man or something, kind of creepy. Looks like a Slender Man kind of looking thing, and has like a mask on. It's like, all right, that kind of looks scary, and I thought it was kind of fun to realize that Marilyn Manson did the voice for that, which apparently he was supposed to do a song for the movie, and then that ended up getting cut as well. So
Boy,
that was kind of a fun little thing, but there was so much potential to this thing. Like I said, it was let me see. The original plans were to tie it in. They wanted to make a potential trilogy out of this. Originally, they were talking about having John Hamm show up as the villain, like in the post credits to like set up another movie. That got scrapped, I guess, after a little while. Then they were talking about doing that with Antonio Banderas and bringing him in and making him like a villainous character to link to other movies. And I'm like, all the stuff I read about this movie and what they wanted to do sounded better than what I got. So that's a shame. Rosario Dawson was supposed to be in it instead of the Alice Braga character. So Alice Braga's in here instead. I don't think she's as good an actress. I don't think she carried the performance that well. I really only know her from like I Am Legend. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head. And the kids do okay with what they're given, but like I said, why force them to do these silly accents and things like that? And I didn't think the horror stuff worked as great. There was one, the one character has like a Native American background, and her tragedy is brought on by this demon bear. And once they have this demon bear on screen, it was laughable to me. It was laughable. It's not scary. The CGI effects did not look that great. So I think this is going to be one of those ones that's going to be studied for a while and be like, how did this get made? How did this get wrong? More than anything. Yeah. But watch it at your own trepidation. It is now available.
Okay. I still do want to watch. Just it's the curiosity killing the cat for me at this point. Like I just still at least want to check it out.
Yeah, same with me. And I honestly think, I don't know if there's a hot take or not, but I think it's the worst X-Men movie I've seen. And I was thinking about it. I think there's 13 movies now in the X-Men, like the Fox X-Men like series. So I would say this is definitely near the bottom. I would put this with, your Dark Phoenix, your Wolverine, some of those kind of offshoot movies were bad, and X3, Apocalypse. Those couple right there were all pretty bad in my opinion, and it just sits right there with it, if not the worst one. The other thing that was kind of interesting, I forgot to note here was it was filmed partially where they filmed Shutter Island, the facility where they filmed it at. So I thought that was kind of fun to see, like the same hospital used again. But like I said, I had more interesting time researching the movie than I did watching it. So.
All right, folks, hit us up on the socials if you got a chance to watch New Mutants and you differ or agree with Tony on that one. Now we're going to move on to a documentary that I got to watch out on HBO Max right now called The Cost of Winning. This is all about a high school football team, and they are in the inner city of Baltimore. This is St. Francis Academy. No, this is not the same St. Francis Academy in San Francisco that Whoopi Goldberg taught how to sing.
Oh, geez.
Different one. These are kids that they live in the crap town of Baltimore. I know that doesn't narrow it down. But a coach came in, this guy came in, and he's literally almost a billionaire. This guy is a hedge fund guy who made a ton of cash back in the day. He also coached at a high-end prep school for a while and got his chops learning how to coach football there. So he comes in here and he's like, you know what, I'm going to save the school. I'm going to save the projects, come in. So he legit comes in with his money and pays for everything, including housing for some kids, like buys a row of row homes near the school so that some of these kids can live there, a la dorms. And these are juniors and seniors in high school. Puts them up in there. He buys all the equipment. He pays for everything because what he would now do is recruit heavily and get all the studs, 4 and 5 star players, load them up. And they got to the point where the MIAA, Maryland Athletic Association, said, we don't want you in our league anymore because you are bending here and making, handing these kids the bag essentially and having them come to school. Now, I say that as a joke because this doesn't touch on was he paying off these players or not. He's paying these kids off by getting them into the school and getting them a better life, getting them off the streets. I don't feel any cash has ever changed hands. That doesn't really get talked about in this. So it deals with these kids and this one season, the one season that they have. It centers mostly around the seniors, and it actually has a little heart to it where this coach and the other coaches on staff really do focus on what schools we can get these kids into. And not only, I desperately wanted to go to Ohio State as a kid. I got an offer from Ohio State. Now I'm going to go to Ohio State. But they say, listen, awesome. You want to do that. But you're really good at math. So a marketing program at Miami maybe that's a better fit for you. Maybe this, and then they really do find the educational route. And so the nice part of this is it's not just football, it's not just recruiting. There is a, how can we make these kids' lives better route to this documentary. It's very quick. It's only 4 episodes. There's some good football in there. It's high school football. If you enjoy any type of high school football, if you enjoy recruiting stuff, because they talk about 5 stars and 4 stars, and this kid got hurt, he dropped down. He should have been like a 5-star player, but because he blew out his knee, he got fatter. He was pushing like 400 pounds at one point, and it dropped him to like a 2-star. But then it shows his progression coming back around. It's nice. It's got a little bit of charm to it. You'll knock it out real quick. I knocked it out in one day because they're quick episodes. And so any of those aspects interest you at all, I recommend HBO Max, The Cost of Winning. It's cute. It's tight. There's parts of it I felt they could have gone deeper on, like how bad these kids' lives were affected. There's one kid who's a 5-star recruit who has lost. He just starts rattling names. He was like, I lost JoJo. I lost Kiki. He was shot that other day. Oh, both him and him were shot that day. Yeah, I was right around the corner too. I heard the shots, but didn't think nothing of it. Found out that was my cousin. So, and just like rattles them off like wow. You're rattling off what you ate for lunch last week. It's just parts of it are sad. The football part of it, they go up against the number 1 team in the country. They have to fly down to Florida to play 2 versus 1, and then they play another top 5 team in the country. It's good. It's good. I enjoyed it. And, I enjoyed it for the fact of I'll never watch it again. It was kind of fun. And I did try and follow up some of the players and see what schools they're going to. And maybe I'll kind of take a peek at their career later on. But also HBO.
That's what I was going to ask you, if any of those players had gone on that we would know yet, or they're still too young to kind of see the progression.
This is 2018, so they're now sophomores in their respective colleges for just those seniors,
Okay.
And there's some kids that were like freshmen, sophomores, or whatever. That I'm like, oh, you could do a follow up on this one. See how
I was going to say, is it going to be a second season possibly of it? You said it's 4 episodes, or is it just a standalone?
They could. It felt very standalone-y. If they wanted to come back, like I said, the next one could dive even like deeper into the projects and deeper into what this guy has done for these kids. The amount of money he dropped. They play this one game where they fly down to another team who's like ranked or unranked. They go down, crush this team. Afterwards, the coach goes to him and he's like, "Hey man, we flew to you. Next season you owe us. You're flying up to us." And he was like, "Man, I ain't got money to fly up to you guys." He was like, "Tell you what, 20 grand. I'll throw you 20 grand. That'll help you guys get at least your plane tickets. Come on up to Baltimore and play us." And then the coach was like, "Okay."
We have to, yeah.
Sounds good to me. So, all right. Cost of Winning is on HBO Max now. I recommend it. It's not going to blow you out of the water, but I do recommend it.
Okay. All right. Let's get into a first take, our first of our first takes for the day, and that is a show that we both had a chance to watch. 3-episode drop that they started out with on Hulu for A Teacher. And did you watch all 3 of the first episodes?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, the 4th episode actually just dropped, so new episodes are going to drop on Tuesday. So we didn't get to episode 4 yet. I believe this is going to be 10 episodes overall. Is that correct? I think so.
That sounds accurate, yeah.
I was very pleasantly surprised to hear that they were under a half an hour each. I was like, yay! I thought this was going to be like an hour-long drama, but I liked the format of the shorter episodes for sure. Based on a 2013 film that was a popular, Sundance release. The same writer-director is involved here, starring Kate Mara and Nick Robinson, who I really enjoyed in Love, Simon. Did you catch up with Love, Simon as well? Did you see him in that?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where I recognize him from.
Yeah, so I
figure out where he's from. Gotcha.
Yeah, I like both the leads here, and it's, inspired by these stories that we've kind of had in the news for 20, 30 years now, where kids get involved with their teachers, basically, and that's what it is. It's a, romance in high school where this kid falls for his teacher, and we'll see where it goes from now. We've only got 3 episodes, but what do you think so far over the A Teacher on Hulu, FX on Hulu, I guess?
I need to apologize. I purposefully listed this one first after Cost of Winning because Michael Strahan was a producer on Cost of Winning, and then Kate Mara parents own the New York Giants. So I was like, I could segue that perfectly until I messed it up. I apologize to all my Giants fans who are listeners. None. Anyway, gotta be honest. I kind of wanted the action to pick up quicker than it did. I was kind of like, come on. Yeah, let's start banging some students here, Kate. Let's move along.
Why they gave us the 3-episode drop was just so we get to that point off, those first 3 episodes at least. Because, it was a little bit of a slow build for the first couple episodes. I got to say, I don't love it. That's my hot take, I guess. I don't love it. I'm going to keep watching it because it's less than 30 minutes, 10 episodes. I'll be able to knock that out and say whether that's easy. But I felt like the writing was kind of cheesy in a lot of parts. Did you feel that?
It was just very stereotypical to me. Like, just very, all right, this is an easy script that we can just kind of knock out.
Come to my college party or whatever. Oh, look at your teacher. It's so hot. It just, I don't know. That part of it just really, it was very noticeable that I felt like the writing was very cheesy or, like you said, predictable, stereotypical, whatever. So,
Yeah.
but otherwise, I do like, especially Kate Mara. I do like her in this role, in this performance. I think she's doing a good job.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll go on Kate first. All right. So one issue I had was first episode. She's dreaming about hooking up with the kid, and then she's having a little alone time during said dream.
Sure.
But then, so the shot pans down to her buttocks area and her hand. You can describe that. Then she wakes up, and then it shows that again, and she's wearing the same pajama top but a different pair of undergarments.
Mm.
Well, that's a ridiculous dream. That's not realistic.
Well, sometimes you spice it up in your dreams. Come on.
Oh, geez. I think Kate's good. I'm hoping we get deeper here. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
I
wanna
hope
say
there's
not give her
more
lots of
like
work with, but,
backstory
like,
maybe to come,
yeah.
maybe on her, and maybe she has like a similar incidents like this or something that they're going to give us. But at this point, yeah, it's not quite there.
I'm hoping the drama. We got 6 more episodes or 7 more episodes that we haven't seen yet. The drama is about to start from
Yeah.
where these first 3 have left off. There's obviously going to be issues with the husband. The predictability of the script. He's going to find out. So I think that someone's going to blab. Someone will find out. Then the drama ensue probably. And then how deep and dark does it get? So I'm
Sure.
with you. I'm not loving it, but I still do want to see December 29th is that final ep. And since they're under
Okay.
30, I think maybe I'll just wait till December 28th and just knock them all out.
Yeah, it's true. You could probably end up binging them out pretty easily. And so, diving deeper into this, though, Jason Bateman is a producer on this, and this was actually originally intended for HBO. So I don't know what happened there, why it's changed, and I don't know why maybe the film wasn't considered great enough or didn't pick up enough legs where this writer was like, I got to do it again. 7 years later, I got to try it again as a TV format. Like, what was
Yeah.
with this program? Why did you feel so strong about this particular story that you wanted to try it again? But we'll see. Maybe it'll pay off better in the end. Right now, we're not super excited about it. The best part about it for me actually is the music. I really like the soundtrack. There's some really good songs that drop throughout at these little parties and things like that they're going
True.
to. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm in.
Superficially, the kid's a good actor. Like you said, like Kate Mara walks in and all the boys in the back are like, oh, shoot, super hot teacher. Okay, sure. But of the guys in the class, like there's the jock kid who's like obviously the really good looking, strapping guy, but she falls for not him.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm just thinking like if a teacher's going to do this, at least
Yeah.
be for like the stud of the
Well,
class.
and there's something else going on there too with like this other side characters that they built in a little bit with the other friends, and the one friend has like a younger girlfriend. So I wonder if that's going to become like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to throw like rape, like maybe something like that going on in the storyline down the season. I could see that easily being part of the story as well.
Check it out, folks. It's on Hulu, right?
Yeah, FX on Hulu. So
yeah,
I don't know if I don't know how that works. Is it actually on regular FX? Because I don't ever watch it there. I just watch it on Hulu. But so maybe it's available on both places.
I'm curious because there is profanity, no nudity, obviously no violence yet. Maybe.
I mean, FX is pretty strong, anyways. If you watch stuff on, but I want to say they started this last year where they've almost like HBO Max, where they drop specific things just on Max that aren't on HBO. And I think FX is doing the same thing with a partnership with Hulu, so it might only be on Hulu, but still an FX branded series. So.
Final Ep drops on the 29th, so that's around episode 220, 221 for us. We'll have a full series wrap on A Teacher. Sure, we have another first take for you guys.
Yeah, and this is also on HBO, so available now. It's going to be 4 episodes, a documentary, and we only saw the first episode so far. It's called Murder on Middle Beach. I kind of threw this one your way. I'm more the true crime junkie, I guess, of the two of us, and I feel like I always get sucked in on any of these kind of documentaries that pop my way. So I was like, why not? I'll try it out. Based on a 2010 murder of a woman in Connecticut, and the most interesting thing about this to me is that the victim's son is actually the director of the documentary. I thought that was a nice approach to bring something new to the genre, and that's really the only reason I'm more interested in it than any other case I would have been. So it's just interviews and archive footage so far. Basically, for the first interview, you do get a little bit of a twist kind of already at the end of the first episode, which I think hooks you for the rest of the 4, because I was like, do we need to go for 4 episodes? I never understand when some of these documentaries go too long, in my opinion. But this one, I'm like, okay, they really take you down the road of one suspect for most of the episode and then flip it near the end. So that was a nice touch. What did you think?
Fully agree all around. This one I was disappointed that we couldn't binge. There's some series I'm like, oh, I wish I could just keep going. And I enjoy the true crime stuff nowhere near as much as you. Obviously, you just said that, but this was good. Good in the aspect, that niche, that this is the son trying to find his mom's killer,
Yeah.
and there's more to it. There's more involvement with the dad, like what happened with the dad, and again, he was a rich guy, and things went sour, and their relationship went sour. I don't want to give anything away because there's interesting things, and you're right. The whole episode is devoted to a suspect to the point where you're just like you just said, this has got to be it, right? This is the painting's on the wall. This has got to be. But then at the end, it's like, oh, okay, maybe not. Maybe we do need 3 more episodes to go and kind of hedge this out. I really hope at the end of this thing, we do find out the answer.
Yeah, I hope it's not like, oh, Murder on Middle Beach season 2 next year or some shit like, or we don't have it, or it becomes an unsolved mystery, whatever,
Yeah, because this is a cold case.
Sure. Yeah, and I was a little, honestly, I was a little bored with it up front. So I will say, if you are feeling the same way as I was, stick with it, because the twist kind of near the end, like I said, hooks you to want to see more. So.
Episode 217 of Take Two Podcast. We should have a full wrap of these 4 episodes. Jump on board.
It's good math.
So you can watch it along with us, and then be ready for that final review. All right, that's our reviews for today, guys. We hope you guys enjoyed them. Hit us up on our socials and let us know what you thought of these films and TV shows, and if you agree or disagree with us across the board. Now is going to be something fun. Again, this is about 18 minutes long, so bear with us, but I do promise you guys it's worth it. Mr. Andrew Rossow and Mark Pelligrino are heading up the Guardian Project. It is a very important anti-bullying campaign. I think a lot of things these guys say in here make a lot of sense. I will give you a spoiler. It's more than raising awareness. It's about actually getting something done, actually having victims be able to confront their accusers in some capacity. And that's something personally that I'm completely on board with. I despise getting it. And, Tony and I are big sports guys too on the side. And you get in these conversations where guys just drop stuff and they're keyboard tough guy, and then you never see him again. It's like, what the crap? No more said for me, because you guys need to listen to this interview right now. Myself, Mr. Mark Pelligrino, and Andrew Rossow. Welcome back, everybody, to Take Two Podcast, and this is a special interview that I am honored to get to have right now. Normally, folks, we get to talk with actors and filmmakers, directors, and we talk, just about acting and filmmaking and fun stuff like that. It's awesome. I love it. But on this interview, we're going to talk about something more, and maybe something a little more important than acting and filmmaking and etc. I am honored right now to be joined by 2 gentlemen that have a project that they've just launched, and I am very happy that we get to be a very small part of it. And hopefully all of you listeners out there and people watching on our special YouTube channel can join in as well. First off, I'm going to lead off with an actor that a bunch of you folks probably already know. He was on Dexter, 13 Reasons Why, Supernatural, all that stuff. Mr. Mark Pelligrino. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for joining Take Two Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
His partner in this startup that they just had is a attorney. He is a young guy. All the things I read are like, wow, he's a young guy. Wow, he's a young guy. I was like, wow, okay. Nobody said this about me when I was a young guy, but I guess when you do big things, that kind of points towards people recognizing how young you are. But more importantly, you're making a difference in the world. Mr. Andrew Rossow. How are you, sir?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Now, listen, guys, this is how important this project is that Andrew is going full hands-free device, but driving just to make sure that this interview happened so that we can get this message out there. And that's awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Not a problem. Thank you for bearing with me, and I apologize ahead of time for any technical difficulties that come about on my end.
It's all good. Once again, folks, you're listening to Take Two Podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and download all of our shows along the way. And then follow these gentlemen and the project that we're about to talk about now, called the Guardian Project. Now, boys, I did all my research on this and read up on it, but I was thinking you guys would be able to explain it best. But I love what we're doing here. So, Andrew, first start off with, what is the basis of the Guardian Project?
Sure. This is a multi-tier approach to the systemic bullying we now face every day. And that has been exacerbated by the pandemic, by our political climate, but just by technology and social media evolution over the years. And what Mark and I are trying to do is find a way for victims of online bullying. And what we mean by that are victims that are victimized in a way that's more than just name calling. This is something that goes to the objective harm and really goes after their reputation, their name, their image, something that is more than just you're mean or you don't like me kind of thing. And it goes towards mental health. And we want to provide a mechanism, a way for victims to be able to share their story, to feel comfortable sharing their story, but also try and find a way to hold the aggressors accountable. And whether that's them saying, look, hey, I didn't realize how bad this my behavior was impacting you. I'm sorry. And in those instances where that's not possible, find a means to hold them accountable. And Mark, if I forgot anything or left anything out, please feel free to chime in.
No, I think that's right. I think we've sort of deduced that the main reason all this verbal violence and even actual violence in the sense of destroying reputations can even happen to the degree that it happens is because of anonymity. People within the mob can disappear within the mob, and they also treat the victim as an abstraction, not a real person that they're injuring. And so this project on this particular level of the show seeks to of course get justice for the victim, but also eliminate that veneer of anonymity that enables one person to get away with what I consider to be crimes, although as some people may argue that a civil offense is not a crime. I did have that argument broached to me the other day on social media, but that's a phase, that the television show phase of it is destroying, taking away anonymity so that victims can get some form of justice.
Yeah, I feel you. Something I struggle myself with is when you run into conversations with, I call it a keyboard tough guy. They could throw things out there and then nothing happens of it. And they just spit such vitriol online. And then you feel absolutely powerless in these conversations. And that's kind of a strong word, or giving too much credit to some of the villains here throughout this. Now, but this is more than just awareness. And I really enjoy that. This is actually getting the aggressors and confronting them. And I think that's huge here that you guys are trying to do. And I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, we think it's good too. And I think the other sort of ancillary branches of this idea are to try to get some types of legal reform, to talk with the owners of the platforms and try to get them to use some form of verification that can be shared amongst platforms so that bad actors who are committing these terrible acts online will be banned across platforms, and to use an objective standard for judging what is considered, what we're saying, bullying, but libel, slanders, viral spreading of false narratives. We have to have objective standards for these things. Free speech doesn't entitle you to the right to destroy the reputation of a person by passing unfounded rumors around about who and what they are. Nor does it give platforms that demonstrate violent behavior, Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, some of these terrible murderous organizations that have social media platforms. It makes one definitely think that the people who are providing the standards for what is considered free speech really don't know what they're doing. And so it's time to educate them, I think.
The verification, Mark, this is what we've said multiple times. For anybody who has that blue check mark, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you're required to provide documentation and identification, driver's license, passport, sometimes the articles of incorporation for a business to verify that you are who you say you are. And that's exactly where this social media verification started from and started as. For those major news networks and certain public figures like Mark to have that protection, because the rationale at the time was these are entities or individuals that if they were impersonated by any means, it could cause such objective harm to their name, to their brand, to their business, but really to the consumer, to the fans, because of the very likely possibility of how they could believe that somebody else is them. And unfortunately, over the years, that has been transformed, bastardized into a popularity contest where there are people who need to be protected that don't have that verification, public figures, business owners, but also just the everyday person. And whether or not it's the blue check, having a system, a verification system like Parler, not so much the platform, but the verified figure, great, you can get a specific color badge, but in order to even get onto the platform as a user, you have to submit a license, a passport, some sort of documentation, and the identification badge. Therefore, that ties you to the platform. So in the event there is something terrible that does happen, there's a way for the platform to address it.
It's funny you bring that up in researching all of this and researching both of you gentlemen. On our socials, I went to follow you both, of course, and I found two other Mark Pellegrinos that I followed, and they weren't you, but the one of them claimed to, and I was like, that guy only has 27 followers. I think he's a little more popular than that. That's not the same guy. But it's so easy to impersonate and say that. So you're very spot on there. Now, in my real life job, I work on Capitol Hill. Are we aiming down that avenue? Am I going to see you guys in front of a committee, hopefully soon, someday? Is that how far we're pushing?
Look,
Get us there?
Well, look, I have something to say about that, though. I mean, I as a civil libertarian, am very suspicious of dragging people before congressional committees to sort out how best to control someone else's property. I really think the social media companies need to have a more objective means of discerning what's good and what's bad, for sure, what's punishable and what isn't, and more effective means of taking these deplatforming people who are serious problems, not people who just don't fit into the social justice linguistics that they're using for their algorithms, but people who are really seriously a threat. And whether that, I don't know that we can do that before a congressional committee, because I think it's something that needs to be solved by the market. Parler, Gab, Minds, these are sort of market alternatives to what people are perceiving as dishonest business practices on the part of some of these big tech firms. But I think the big tech firms can be convinced that their standards need to be more objective, and that they do themselves a service by sharing the information of bad actors and banning them across social media platforms. And then people will begin to trust that perhaps free speech really is something they're trying to protect, and not just a particular side's ideas, right?
And at the same time, go ahead, Mark.
I'm saying, would we go before a congressional committee? I guess, but I don't think Congress solves problems, to be honest with you. We solve problems, and if anything, they get in the way. And I would prefer to keep them out of the way, because usually I have had friends who've sat before Congress and testified before Congress, and I've watched those testimonies, and what I see are politicians grandstanding and making their own political points, and very little actually getting accomplished. So, but maybe I'm jaundiced.
You know what? You have a good point. But even then, if we were to have that opportunity, from an educational standpoint, I think there could be a lot of value, even if there isn't necessarily a resolution. Having people who come from, Mark and I come from different worlds, but share very similar experiences and have very different understandings of the different eras of social media from when it first started to where it is now. So I think just the ability to inform, to share information and educate, that could create value. But I do agree with Mark in that I think it's a little premature right now until some other questions are answered. But it never hurts to educate and to hopefully have Congress keep an open mind from people who really do understand it, who do use it every day.
And let's face it, I think the argument right now is so intensely politicized that these social media platforms are being brought before Congress under the threat of having their monopolies, quote unquote, broken up because some people in power don't like their prejudices. Well, you're allowed to have prejudices on your property. You're allowed to dispose of your property as you see fit. You're allowed to have some voices stronger than others on your property. It may not be fair. It's not cool. It's not intelligent in my view, but people have a right to be stupid. That's just the way it rolls. Maybe Jack feels that he's, made his billions and doesn't have to bend to the market at all. But I think I think reputation means something, and I think he would rather be remembered not as an ideologue, but as somebody who's a real fair platform for free speech and only bans lies, slander, and violence. But that's
Well, at the
me.
very least, all that is spot on. And with all that being said, to your point, Andrew, we're doing a little bit here to educate, and hopefully we're helping in a very little way to at least get this word out and to help at least spread the awareness and more going forward. So, Andrew, if you can put, where do we go? There's a Kickstarter campaign that just started off this past week, correct?
It started about, excuse me, voice cracked a little bit. It started about 2 weeks ago, and It goes until, I believe, the 26th of this month. And as of today, I believe we're about 31% funded. And, you know, that's been wonderful because, look, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We just came out of election season, hopefully. You know, so to everyone who's donated, it's been so helpful. And, you know, we really hope that we get the chance to see this through. But if for some reason Kickstarter doesn't work, that's, you know, we have other options, and we plan to keep basically pick up where we left off and make this happen. And
let's be clear. I mean, we definitely started the Kickstarter during a time when it's going to be kicked to the back door of everybody, the very back of the line of everybody's hierarchy of values. But there's also a concerted, organized group of people who are very much against these ideas. They don't want anonymity to be broken. Now they come up with very reasonable suggestions. They're not suggestions. They're leading questions with respect to what all of this means, only because they don't want to be revealed for having committed the terrible things that they've done to people, and they don't want to be held accountable. So, but they're very strong. They're smart, and they manipulate narratives, and they're out there fighting us. In waves,
Wow.
and we're swimming up the current of people who are saying, "Well, anonymity. What about the quote unquote freedom fighter in another country who's on social media against the rules of that country?" And I sort of countered with other, I tried to say, look, of course, there's tons of alternatives, not all of which are good to any plan that we come up with. And some of them will be sorted out when we actually sit down and reason our way through these processes. And some we're just going to have to choose the better of some not so great alternatives. But, you know, the end of this is to get this discourse back in that civil mode, if it's ever been there. But, you know, I think we can contribute to it.
Beautiful. I like it. I'm very happy to put ourselves behind your cause right now and what you guys are fighting for big time. Mark, we are also the official podcast of the CW network here in DC.
Awesome.
So we cover Supernatural. One of my co-hosts covers that exclusively. He's got a whole big breakdown. I just wanted to congratulate you on being part of such a big show, 15 seasons, I think, long, something crazy like that, which is fantastic. So just congrats on being a part of that.
Thank you. I'm very fortunate to have been a part of it, and I thank the cast and the crew and CW and Warner Brothers for assembling such a cool group of folks together to do a great show. And I'm blessed that they had such a great run. And let's hope it has a second life. You never know. No one ever dies in Supernatural, and maybe the show itself won't die either. I have faith.
Oh, we have teaser breaking news right there. You heard it there first on Take Two Podcast.
I'm so excited. This is news to me. This is wonderful.
And Andrew, we thank you for everything you do. Listen, everyone said you're a young guy. I didn't know we'd get your voice cracking in the middle of the show there. How young are you?
It keeps me young. At 30 years old, there's so much that I have to learn. And that's what's really cool about this opportunity is, I grew up watching Mark on, Supernatural with my family, but developing this relationship and friendship with Mark, I think there's things that we learn from each other. And, I've said this to Mark, it's not every day you get to work alongside somebody that you've admired, respected, and really just to say thank you, as you just did, for the work that he's done. So for me, it's an honor, it's a privilege, and I I show that by putting my heart and soul into this, and whatever I can do to make this a reality for all of us.
So cool. So
yeah,
very
you're a
awesome.
good egg.
That's awesome, guys. I very much appreciate you on anytime either of you want to come back, come on, talk just movies, TV making in general, whatever you guys want to discuss. If you do make it to Capitol Hill, let me know. I can get you in some back doors, at least into the Capitol building, or a private tour. I can get you that far. I can't get you in front of the committee, though. That can't happen.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Anytime.
I like that. I like that.
Whenever you're in
backdoor
DC,
tours.
let me
I like
know.
that.
We can at least do that kind of stuff. We'll take you up to the very top. It's the best view of the city, all the way up top with the Statue of Freedom.
Love
Up there.
Wow, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Folks, the Guardian Project, look it up. Is there a specific website you guys want them to go to?
You can go to my Twitter at Mark R. Pelligrino. You can go to my Instagram, Mark Ross Pelly, MarkRossPelle. Or, Andrew?
Or you can find me on Twitter, Rosso ESQ, and Instagram, CyberGuy ESQ. And we do have the Guardian Project pages that we share and link to. But for anyone who does reach out, we're happy to chat and answer as many questions as possible, because that's what this is about, is answering those questions and providing as much information as possible.
Fantastic. And I'll tag you on all of our stuff as best we can as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on Take Two Podcast. I do appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Brian. Peace.
Thank you for having us, Brian. Thanks so much.
All right, buddy. I did have one more thing that I got into. I didn't want to do necessarily a full-blown review of it, more just kind of discussion with you. But, I love the true crime. We were just talking about it. And Unsolved Mysteries, they dropped their second volume. Not really a second season, but they kind of split it in half, gave us batches of episodes. So I missed it. They dropped almost a month ago, 3 weeks ago or whatever, this second batch of episodes. So I had a chance to catch up with it this week. Like I said, I don't really want to dissect it critically, because it's like, oh, that murder wasn't as interesting. I don't want to get like, that's silly to poke at these episodes. But just to maybe hook you if you're interested, this batch of episodes deals with a government official who was found dumped in a landfill in Delaware, and they kind of get into it and find out, why this guy was targeted, why he ended up there. They still don't know, obviously, but it was an interesting story because I never even knew about the guy or anything. He was the guy who basically spearheaded the project for the Vietnam Wall. So somehow he was killed and dumped in a landfill in Delaware. They still don't know why. There was a mysterious suicide of an unidentified woman in Norway, where the room that she was in, she'd been in, it was locked from the inside. No one else was in there. They found her in there with a gun, shot herself. The way she was holding it, all that stuff was very suspicious. So that was an interesting case. Still don't know what happened there. They think maybe it was a tie to like a spy kind of thing, because she was totally unidentified. They were never able to really know who she was or whatever, or track down any next of kin, anything. So
wow,
that was interesting. The third one, you had a convicted child murderer who was able to kind of walk away freely in Ohio, and they're still searching for him. So that was kind of a crazy story. 2011, there was a tsunami in Japan. They get into that story in the fourth episode, and deals with this whole neighborhood now of where all these people were killed in Japan now are basically reporting being haunted by ghosts of people that died in the tsunami. So it's like widespread in this one area. All these people are saying they're haunted by people who were lost in the tsunami. So that was interesting. There's a Michigan case in episode 5 where a woman is expected to just have walked into a freezing lake and disappeared, and the family totally disagrees with the police, and what they just wrote it off as a suicide, but they don't believe it. They think there's more to it, and there's different evidence to point elsewhere. And then the 6th episode dealt with some missing kids in New York in 1989. A couple different kids that go missing from the same park, only months apart. So they think there was some kind of like serial thing, either child abduction or whatever going on there. And that was just interesting to see the similarities in these missing children, how they were still never able to find them. So kind of a good batch of different things. Your supernatural, your missing kids, your murders, they're all over the place with these episodes. And I think they're really doing a good job with the revival of the show. I used to love this show, and for it to have been gone for so long, and the way that they brought it back, I think is good. And some stories like this, these true crime stories, need to just be told in a 40-minute episode, and that's it. Like, I like that.
Right.
Not The Vow, where you stretch it out for 9 episodes and you don't even give us the whole story yet. Like, so some stories lend better to this small format, or so I like to have those different options. So if you're into it and you just want the small bite-sized true crime stories, get into Unsolved Mysteries. Now they got 6 new episodes for you on Netflix.
I was just gonna say, it's on Netflix.
Yeah. So I think there's 12 episodes total since they brought it back, and it's from like a producer of Stranger Things. So like the people involved are paying a good amount of homage to the original, and they know what they're doing. So
awesome, beautiful.
Yep.
Hey, before we move forward, did you see that Twitter now has like stories?
Oh, do they? I don't know.
You
Haven't
can
paid
do.
attention.
Let's try. Ready? Let's
You're doing a
try
Twitter story of me?
Yeah, we're on Twitter. All right, we're recording episode 214 right now. I'm Brian. Here we go. Take Two Podcast. There's Tony. Take a swig of that Sonic cup. What's going on?
I'm trying to look like Baby Yoda.
I don't know if I just did that accurately because I can't see. We're going to talk a little Baby Yoda more in a minute here, but episode 214 going to drop tomorrow into your feeds. Take Two Podcast. I don't know if I did that right. Maybe I did. Okay, let's move along to some trailer talk.
Yeah, the trailer's kind of weak this week. I almost just told you let's not even bother. But so let's start off with, I think, the weakest of all of them, the Breach trailer with Bruce Willis. Is this where we're at with Bruce Willis's career now?
This was, what was this? This was Aliens combined with, what was I thinking of? With the zombie movie, Armageddon,
Stranger Things,
Fifth Element.
It was just like, let's take anything cool that's been in sci-fi and try and jam it into a movie and put Bruce Willis in it. And, oh yeah, remember he did a Die Hard commercial with batteries. Like, come on, Bruce, what are we doing with your career? He's done. I've written him off. His career is done. I'm making that prediction. He's never going to make another good movie. I'm sad.
Darn it. Oh well. All right. Sorry, Bruce. You're out. That is coming out December 18th.
Superintelligence also dropped a trailer from Melissa McCarthy. This is coming, I think, soon to HBO or something. Well, I forget.
26th.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So that's a fun release date, and good movie. That's a lot of time where people sit around, and we'll get into that with the going forward next week. Actually, there's a lot of stuff dropping that week of Thanksgiving, so it's a good time for to sit around, watch some stuff with the family. It looks okay. It looks like a typical Melissa McCarthy comedy. So
look like a Melissa McCarthy Black Mirror comedy.
Okay. Yeah.
Like computers are watching you and things are all watching you or whatever.
Sure.
Like, oh, let's kind of take that and then just make it into a silly comedy. Of course, she throws a James Corden in there, and it could be fun. Like you just said, like you're sitting around with the family doing nothing. You're sitting there eating turkey and whatever, and you're fat.
Yeah,
watch that.
Easy, light stuff, So, and then the last one I wanted to talk about was Wild Mountain Time. Did you watch this? I figured.
Try it again.
Isn't that what it's called? Wild
Mountain Time. No, you can't say that.
I'm not Christopher Walken.
Oh my God. Okay,
that's awful,
go ahead.
That's the first part about this we need to talk about is his awful Irish brogue, whatever he's trying to put on, and it just sounds like Christopher Walken still. It's terrible.
Why? Why did they get him for this? There are lots of other actors, American ones that can do Irish accents, or Irish actors. Like what? Like as soon as I was like, oh cool, Chris Walken. Oh no, Chris Walken. Oh, what are we doing here with this Irish? That's not good.
Well, this needs is more cowbell. I don't even know what he was doing. It was awful. But you get some other attractive people in here. Jamie Dornan, John Hamm. Was it Emily Blunt? Is that or not?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Emily Blunt?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
Yeah. Yep.
But this movie just looks like, I don't know, doesn't look that great to me, and I don't know if it's just Walken keeping me away from it.
No, it's not just Walken keeping you away from it. I don't know. It was kind of like Hallmarky to a little bit, but there might be something wrong with Jamie Dornan's character. Maybe he's a little off because she's waiting for him to love her. But then there's John Hamm, this big guy who wants to take her to New York. We've seen this movie before. They've just added a different element in Ireland and then something different with Jamie Dornan. I am intrigued. The only other thing I've seen Jamie Dornan in is 50 Shades.
Whoa, okay.
Let's be honest. I'm just intrigued to see any type of acting ability from the guy.
Well, I've seen him. He was in a show, I forget the name of it right now, with Gillian Anderson, and it was like a crime thing where he was like a murderer, and I really liked him in that show. I thought he was good. So I think he can be a good actor. I don't doubt that, but yeah, he hasn't done much that most people know to improve upon or to know about. So, yeah, that was it. I mean, I also saw the Tom and Jerry trailer. You haven't had a chance to see it yet. Live action movie with Tom and Jerry animated in it, kind of a la, Space Jam or something like that.
Right.
I mean, if it gets a new generation interested in Tom and Jerry, okay, I'm all for it. But to me, the trailer looked just silly and ridiculous. Chloe Grace Moretz is like the star of it. I'm like, really? This is what you're doing with your career now already? Like. I don't know if that's a smart choice. So it looks okay. We'll see. Like I said, I'm all for trying to get those older properties, excited again for young people. But I just don't know if this did it for me. And then we got the reunion trailer for Fresh Prince too. You were excited about that. When's that dropping?
Buddy, I teared up, man. That comes out this week. That comes out the 19th. That's later this week. You might be listening to this as yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't even know.
I thought it was later, and I went back to double check, and it said dropping this week on Thursday. So
it's just a reunion special on HBO Max. Okay.
No, and when they went down that road, started talking about that, I was like, "Fuck, you're gonna make me cry."
Yeah.
They're gonna make us cry.
All right. Well, we'll have to check that out. We'll talk about it next week.
Sounds good. Wild Mountain Time does come out December 11th. That's it. That's it for our trailer talk.
Do your best Irish Christopher Walken. I want to hear it.
What needs now is more cowbell.
Well, that's actually pretty good. That's actually better than him. I hid this chunk of gold up my arse for 6 months.
I feel bad. I do feel mildly bad for Walken. He's a phenomenal actor. Has been for 30 years. And if you ask anyone to do an impression of him, almost automatically people do his SNL cowbell.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, just like when we did our Sean Connery, that's what I was doing was...
You do the Jeopardy. That's true. All right, PodRec time. Podcast recommendation comes to you guys this week with some new friends that we made over the Twitter. They responded to our Superhero Secret Cinema. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But since I saw them on there, I was like, you know what? I got nothing to listen to tonight. Let me just try and grab a new one. And they're called the Trilogy Podcast. And they devote each and every episode to a movie film trilogy. And they just break it down. Two guys. And they talk about all three films. They give the background. They give the makings of. They kind of give a time, place, history, like when these films were made, what did they mean. They give their opinions, which movie, if the movies were any good, how they would rank them, 1, 2, 3, against each other. I jumped on and listened to the Ninja Turtles episode because I was like, oh, that's something I like and something I could adhere to. That episode is actually like 3 back for them. They've dropped about 140 eps, and that's like 138-ish or something to that effect. They're available on all platforms. They're good. Their audio quality was great. The chemistry between the hosts was fantastic. So as far as a podcast you're listening to, that was all solid. They add in a lot of editing in the fact of
clips and things like that.
Sure, like they're talking about, Ninja Turtles and Walken, and then they would add in a clip of Walken's SNL thing doing the more cowbell. Even though it's not really necessarily on topic, but like how we would converse and just like do that. So they add in a lot of little clips throughout, like real quick, 2
So what you're saying is you need to step up your game.
100%. I was extremely jealous. Yeah, I was like, wow, this is real. I feel inept. But it was good over there. I fully disagree with their opinions on the Ninja Turtle movies.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Were they going after Vanilla Ice, your favorite one?
They were very sour. They were very sour on the films, like in general.
Oh, really? The first one's a classic. Come on, guys.
The one guy ranked 3 above 2.
No.
Well, okay,
See, this might be an age thing too. Are they younger than us?
They definitely sound younger. Now, his reasoning was valid because he felt they tried to go too mainstream blockbustery with Vanilla Ice and the product placements and whatever. And
editing characters, made up characters. Yeah.
Cartoon, back to the original book. Sure. It was the explanation.
I would love to hear them dissect one of the best trilogies of all time, Indiana Jones. Like, where do they fall on things like that? Like, if there's a 4th movie that's just shit, can you just ignore that and just focus on the good ones? Because that's what I want to hear.
The Trilogy Podcast. I enjoyed it, and I subscribed after listening to that first episode, and I'll keep on listening to it, and you guys should as well.
Cool. All right. You want to get on that couch, baby?
I'm ready.
All right. While you're swigging that, I'm gonna take over here.
Sorry, I need
casting for this week. Mads Mikkelsen is in talks to take over from Johnny Depp after he got ousted for Fantastic Beasts #3. Most people just said, why not get Colin Farrell back? So interesting. We'll see what happens with Mads Mikkelsen, or they can just go the route of having him played by different people throughout, as well.
True.
Because I think it's supposed to be kind of magic involved in that.
And how guy.
Yeah. So why not? Kind of like, what was that? Dr. Parnassus, that movie that they did with Heath Ledger died, and then they had like a bunch of different people play the role. Not saying that Johnny Depp's died, but his career might have. So.
Oops. I do enjoy Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, no, he's great. If you haven't watched Hannibal, he's fantastic in Hannibal. So I just find him more creepy, and I don't know if they're going for that more so than they were going to go with a Johnny Depp. We'll see. So
you think? So I say Mads Mikkelsen, and you think Hannibal?
That might just be like recency bias. Film world, I would automatically go to Le Chiffre.
Casino Royale. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Banging balls under the chair, but I think he is great in Hannibal, and I think enough people haven't seen that, and he does a really good job. So
I'm going to tell everyone that you died scratching my balls. Okay.
Kevin Hart is going to star in and produce a Scrooged remake at Paramount. What do you think about that? Not necessary. Okay. Not necessary at all.
You know how I feel. I'm the minority on Scrooge. I don't love that movie in general. So now
this almost seems like one of the movies that would have been on the TV channel, like behind Bill Murray.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Only if Bill Murray that is one of the ghosts, or like he's the cab driver or something.
They
like
should
that.
Work him in there somewhere. Yeah, that'd be good.
Stapling the antlers onto the mouse.
Sure. And I mean, if that's one thing we need in the world is more adaptations of Christmas Carol, because there haven't been enough. There's like 2 every year. All right, new movie coming to Netflix called The Guilty. I guess this was previously announced with Jake Gyllenhaal. It was purchased by Netflix for $30 million. They expanded the cast. So adding to the cast here is Paul Dano, Peter Sarsgaard, Riley Keough, Bill Burr, Divine Joy Randolph, Ethan Hawke, and Edie Patterson. All fantastic people. This is directed by Antoine Fuqua, screenplay by Nick Pizzolatto, who did True Detective. So it's like every single name involved in this sounds like a great project. So I can't wait for this. I love that Netflix just continues to bring this high bar of content no matter what. So
is Netflix the #1 movie studio in the world right now?
Right now, probably. And I already gave you my prediction. I think they're finally getting a Best Picture win this year. Just based on the way the year is going with COVID and that kind of stuff. You know, I think they're the only studio who can really pull it off. So
can't argue against it.
Alicia Vikander has been cast in a Dial M for Murder anthology-style series. I guess it's going to be kind of standalone seasons that will reset, but a similar storyline each year, reimagining the Hitchcock movie, which was based on a play from 1954. And it's going to be more from the female perspective this time instead of just... That's a lot of people's criticism of that movie. If you go back and watch it now, it's just very much like, help us female. So they're going to try and update it for today. And this is from Terrence Winter, who was involved with Sopranos, which actually another piece of Terrence Winter news, not really casting related, but he is actually backed out of the Batman series. I just read that a few minutes ago.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I guess over creative differences. So that might be not good news for the Batman series already. That spin-off that they were going to do for HBO.
Sure, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So he was involved with that, backed out of it, but now he's involved with this. So we'll see what happens.
Huh.
I think that's it as far as casting for me. Did you see anything else?
Jakey Boy is reuniting with Michael Bay in a movie called Ambulance.
Okay. Is this a remake? I think there was like a 70s movie named Ambulance.
That sounds right to me. Gyllenhaal and his brother rob a bank, but then something goes wrong and they hijack an ambulance and then there's a chase. And
sounds exactly like a Michael Bay movie.
I feel there will be an explosion or 2 in there.
Sure. Cars.
Saigon Bodyguards just cast Chris Pratt and Wu Jing. And this is reuniting Chris Pratt with the Russo brothers who will be producing this film.
Okay.
These guys are for hire bodyguards, but they fail, and the person they're protecting gets away. And now they have to go find them.
What was with, I don't know if you paid attention, what was with the Chris Pratt like backlash? Was that last week?
I don't know. Did he say something God Squatty? What did he do?
I don't know. There was like a whole thing online. I didn't really read into it. But I don't know if you had seen it or not. I guess not. But it was like a whole thing where stars were coming to Chris Pratt's defense, people that he had worked with in Marvel and stuff. So.
Oh, shoot. I'm not familiar, so I can't. Yeah. Maybe we'll look at it for later. But now that you say it, something rings a bell. Okay, Millie Bobby Brown. I feel she has an exclusive contract with Netflix, and there's no reason that she should not do that because it's working well for her. But she's just been cast as the lead in a movie called Damsel.
Okay.
And she's playing a princess who thinks that she's being led to meet her prince to marry, but really she's being led to a dragon to be sacrificed by the village.
Now, is she producing this as well? Because I know she has like a production deal, I think, with Netflix for sure. So
I don't know for sure, but that would make sense because I think we mentioned that before. But then, of course, she's not your typical damsel. She can kick some butt.
Yeah.
New York Will Eat You Alive. An action comedy with zombies starring Mr. Darcy.
Colin Firth. We talked about that last week. Yep.
Did we really?
Yeah, you don't pay attention to me at all. That's all right.
What's your name? Huh? John. I don't remember talking about that. Okay. All right. So, John. Deep cut. Okay. All right. Did we talk about Liam Neeson and Retribution?
No. That sounds new.
Yeah, well, kind of. It's a Liam Neeson movie, and it's very similar to... The only bio it said on that, it is like Speed, where he is
Oh, so he's on a bus now. Okay.
I guess so.
Taken on a bus?
He's not the cop. He's like the side guy. Who
I thought it was like somebody captured his daughter at the back of the bus and he had to get on the PA and be like, I'm going to find you, get you. And then the whole movie is just him working through the bus to get his daughter.
Yeah. But he gets dragged on because they keep making the stops. Keep letting people on and off.
Sure. Got to do it.
I saw Liam Neeson in an action movie and it said like Speed. I was like, all right, I'm pretty sure I've seen this film. I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
And he's getting up there, man. I don't know how long he can keep doing this stuff.
Superhero Secret Cinema, we're back, baby. We're back. This one was a good one.
Yeah. I was actually watching the movie the night that this one dropped. I don't know if my inspiration gave you that, put you over the edge there.
So it's hilarious because I was literally, I shit you not, I was pulling up, getting ready to pick a film for the weekend. And we didn't necessarily have great synergy. So I was like, all right, let me just pick something fun, what have you. And you text me this film. I was like, oh, works for me. Thanks. That works. And I had known the answer because it was one of the ones I had written down, many months ago when we first started this. But the movie was Big Fish. The winner's here. This is where we came across the Trilogy Podcast, guys. You guys got it right. Not only did you get it right, but you did something other people haven't really done in the past, and you named the actors all the way down down the list, which is totally cool. Bonus points for you guys. Kyle Unger also jumped on board. He let us know that the thumbnail on Twitter cut off the last clue. We're very sorry about that. That's because I took the picture from Instagram, put it on Twitter, and it cut off. But he still guessed it right without that final clue of the penguin. Rory, Craig, Katz. No, excuse me. Rory and Craig got it right. Katz, you did not. Katz guessed Phantom Menace, I think. But
yeah. But at least he tries every week.
Exactly. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, buddy. And then the MDX pods. You guys guessed accurately on the Instagram.
That's a good movie, man. I feel like we didn't get as many responses maybe as I thought, but it is kind of one of those movies that flies under the radar. And I'm a big Tim Burton fan. I've seen all of his movies, so it's personally one of my favorites. I think it's one of the last good movies he's made, to be honest. So,
no arguments all around. Okay, let's jump into the Hollywood news.
All right, I got a lot here, so I'm going to try and speed it up because we're getting close to the end of the episode. Amazon has bought Lucy and Desi, an Aaron Sorkin script with Cate Blanchett attached to play. It has already been in development for like the last 2 years, so this is a good sign, though, that it is kind of ramping up. Still nobody, signed up to play Desi, but Cate Blanchett as Lucy, I love. I think it's great.
Okay.
Dwayne Johnson. Yeah. Dwayne Johnson said that he is attempting to reboot The Scorpion King, producing only for Universal. Left it out as maybe he would cameo in it, but he really has respect for the role and the franchise and wants to bring it back and try and make it, I guess, better than it was, because I never thought Scorpion King was that great to begin with, and they made like 4 direct-to-video sequels or some shit to it. So if they can bring it back and make it good, I guess I'm okay with it, and maybe give some young upstart a new shot like he got, because this is really the movie that broke his career.
True.
And I think the reason this one doesn't hold up well is some of the CGI and things like that from that era. So maybe it's a time to relook at that,
Words out of my mouth. The one thing I remember from this was the first time he came on screen, it was god awful CGI.
Yeah.
That could be his thought process. Is like, you know what? Let me do this better.
Yeah. David Fincher, big Fincher fans here. Can't wait to see The Mank dropping on Netflix soon. He has now signed an exclusive deal with Netflix for 4 years, 9 figures. He's already pretty much been working with them exclusively since 2013 with House of Cards, Mindhunter, and now Mank. But this is more of an actual exclusive deal now where he'll be producing content for them. His last film actually was 2014, Gone Girl. So he hasn't really made a movie in 6 years. So hopefully this will get him going, though. If you only have 4 years to make another movie and it's been 6 since your last, what are you gonna do? Is Mank it? Is that your 4-year deal and it's up? I don't know, but I look forward to maybe some more original content from him.
If you're curious who David Fincher is, folks, you could just scroll back in your feed to the Take-Two Spotlight. All about him.
Sure. I think if you're listening to this show, hopefully you know who David Fincher is. I hope so.
Valid.
We got our headliner for the Super Bowl halftime show. The Weeknd will be performing in Tampa on February 7th.
Okay. Cool.
I think that's good. I like him. I equate him to a modern Michael Jackson, in my opinion. Like, I don't know if he's quite to that showman level, but I think his voice is there. And I think that's who he reminds me the most of. And I think he's good. I think he's has some decent music out there. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to the collabos. Somebody else will show up on stage with them. I'm sure that should be fun.
Right.
Godmothered. I think we had talked about this before. It's coming to Disney Plus December 4th, and this is starring Gillian Bell, Isla Fisher, Jane Curtin, and June Squibb. So I think originally maybe they had plans to do this as a theatrical, but they're dropping it on Disney Plus. So that's something else for you to watch again with the family around the holidays. I think that's a good move by them.
Cool.
Sticking with the Disney Plus, they are doing a reboot of Darkwing Duck. I'm so pumped about this. I love Darkwing Duck. I love the new version of DuckTales that they have going on is actually pretty good too. So if it's similar to that, I'm all in. And Seth Rogen's team is actually on the production side of that. So that's interesting because they do The Boys. So no, I don't think Darkwing Duck is quite as dark as The Boys.
It is now.
Yeah, it's really Darkwing Duck. Outsider Season 2 not happening at HBO.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, they said that the producers are now shopping it to other networks. I guess Stephen King was on board. He was excited about it. It's going to focus more on Cynthia Erivo's character going forward, and it was going to be new, straying from the book. So maybe that's why HBO just didn't think it was going to be as good. So we'll see. We'll see if it still continues on somewhere else. But I like The Outsider. I thought it was a really good hit for them, so that's shocking.
Yeah, it's middle of the road on it, but it is shocking that they didn't move forward on it.
Speaking of shocking, Space Force officially gets a Season 2 at Netflix. I was kind of middling on that one, and with the way that they've been canceling all their shows and stuff that seemed expensive, this seemed expensive as well to me, so I'm surprised that they renewed this. The only intriguing thing will be is if they take it in like a political way of like, well, now we got a new president, and kind of reflect real-world events maybe in that way, and it could make it interesting.
True. I mean, I'm glad because they did leave us with some cliffhangers, like, what's going to happen. But after Away got canceled, the other space show, then I thought, this would probably be on the chopping block next. But
yeah. All right. Stephen Caple Jr. has been announced as your director for the next Transformers movie, which is going to be a continuation of that Bumblebee kind of soft reboot of the series that they already established. So, and he directed Creed 2, so...
Yeah,
we'll see.
Okay, I liked that Bumblebee movie.
Yeah, I liked Bumblebee and I liked Creed 2, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm fine with it. Let's see what they do. A couple months ago, we saw the Universal AMC deal where they tightened up that theatrical window release and were able to put stuff on PVOD sooner. Cinemark has also now signed off on this deal with Universal. So they said this even happens after COVID. This is going to continue on. Basically, the way it's set up is if a movie makes $50 million or more, it will wait 31 days to be released on PVOD.
Opening weekend.
If it's less than that, it will be available 17 days. So we'll see. And also, one of the things that gets buried in a lot of the talk about these things is that the theater chains, when they do these deals, they're getting part of the profit of that as well from the PVOD. So that's kind of a smart move on their part to get a little bit of the kickback.
Yeah.
But I got to say, personally, like I wanted to see Freaky last weekend, but then when I looked it up and saw this was going to be the first one of that Universal 17-day window, so it's going to be on demand November 30th, I think.
Yeah, okay, so this weekend. There you go.
Yes, I was like, why am I even... I'm not going to push it to go to the theater. I mean, I want to support it, and I would like to support my theaters, but I'm like, I could probably wait and just watch it at home. So I wonder if more people are going to go down that road going forward, I don't know if you saw this. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have bought a Welsh soccer team, Wrexham, for $2.5 million. They're currently a fifth-tier English football team, and they're going to plan to have a little TV show about it as well, like behind the scenes of their taking over the team and trying to make it better. And, I'm like, is this Ted Lasso?
They're mooching off a lasso.
It's a Ted Lasso documentary. So I thought you might enjoy that.
He took his vodka money and he turned it into a football team there. Good for Reynolds.
I mean, $2.5 million, that's not bad. So if we keep doing this long enough and just keep saving that Patreon money, maybe we can...
Patreon.com. Yeah. There is a fifth tier level you guys don't know about. It is the $2.5 million tier level.
I mean, hey, why not? I'll buy a shitty English football team. Why not? We'll rename them Take Two or something. Yeah,
gladly invest.
Yeah. All right, John M. Chu has been signed up to direct a live-action Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, okay. Why?
Which is interesting because I like John Chu. He did Crazy Rich Asians, which was great. He's got In the Heights coming. He's an up-and-coming kind of director. So why would you do Lilo and Stitch live action? I don't know how this is going to play out. It still didn't say if it was going to be theatrical or Disney Plus for sure, but I'm assuming Disney Plus, personally.
Sure. Lilo and Stitch is a massive miss in our house. not fans.
We like it. We're big Elvis people, so we like the music. And then my son was big into Stitch, and we watched it quite a bit when he was little. So we are fans of it, but I don't know about this remake. Speaking of remakes, Short Circuit is also getting remade.
Johnny Five Alive.
The interesting thing was they said that they were going to take like an immigrant or Latino kind of flavor to the script. So I don't know what that means necessarily. I think it was the second one where they ended it with him getting citizenship. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe they're going to continue the series, or if it's going to be like a reboot. I don't know.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Lynn Ramsey, one of my favorite directors of the last 10 years or so, she did We Need to Talk About Kevin and You Were Never Really Here, 2 great movies. She has signed up to write and direct The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, which is a Stephen King book, probably the only one that hasn't been adapted at this point. So she found the one. Good job.
Congrats to her.
But I like her, and I think she can bring something good to that project.
I like her a lot.
Conan O'Brien. What's that?
I was just being goofy. Keep going.
Oh. Conan O'Brien has announced that he is ending his show on TBS effective in June of next year. That's 28 years in late night TV for him. That's crazy. I didn't realize it had been that long. And he's moving on to the weekly variety show on HBO Max, which I think is a smart move. And I think the nightly television show like that is just dying out. And I think this weekly thing is where it's at with your John Olivers and things like that are able to make it work. I think that's where the meat and potatoes, if you will, is now.
Yeah, I threw his show on like 2 months ago or whatever, and it's totally changed where it's just kind of like a one-on-one cup of coffee type.
Isn't it just like a half hour long too now or something?
Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is the guy that used to have a dog with a cigar for me to poop on that now has now come this far. I always liked Conan. It was never like my first option to put on for the late night guys.
No, but he
I always
got
liked
Shaft with that little mix up too.
Yeah, when he got the Tonight Show and then they booted it and then Leno took it back and so.
He had a funny tweet about this, though. He said something like, the first thing Johnny Carson taught me was to get a deal on streaming, or whatever, like was his tweet about this. So
good stuff.
This was interesting today. Just saw this when I woke up. Spike Lee is going to direct a musical about Viagra. And this is based on an Esquire article called All Rise. It's about the making of Viagra, the guys behind Pfizer and kind of their rise, if you will, to success.
Okay.
But that's interesting. A musical? Like, what is it going to be? If it lasts more than 4 hours, call the doctor. Like, what are you... I don't know. And then lastly for me, Judd Apatow just announced also that he is doing a comedy for Netflix, still untitled, but it's about some actors stuck in a hotel bubble during the pandemic trying to film a project. So a very timely, thing, and Netflix seems like that's a good thing. I don't know.
Groovy. You got all my big ones. Speaking of the Ted Lasso, though, that you mentioned a little earlier, did you see they broke up?
Oh, yeah. That sucks.
Wild. They split. That's pretty wild. They've been together quite a while, have 2 kids, what have you. Sure. And they even said a lot of it is his success recently with traveling overseas. She's traveling, and they just never saw each other. So
I was gonna say, they both have been very, very successful recently with Booksmart and things like that on her end. So yeah.
And so when I was telling my wife that, she was like, "Oh, I bet you're happy with the Olivia Wilde. Now she's single." And I was like, "Okay." She's like, "Isn't she in your 5?" I was like, I mean, she's never cracked my 5, but she's up there.
She's an honorable mention. Honorable mentions.
The thing that elevates her is she gave hope to chubby, funny guys everywhere. It's like if Sudeikis could swing that, then there's hope for them. Anyhow. Sure. Michael J. Fox came out in an interview that he was in saying that he's pretty sure his acting career is done. I didn't find this to be breaking news. I thought he was, but I guess he's like officially retiring type deal.
Yeah, he had done some. I know he was doing that Good Doctor, or not Good Doctor, was it Good Wife, or one of those kind of shows?
Yeah.
It's, periodically he would show up on there still. Right. Yeah, I think he has like a memoir or a book coming out about it, right?
Right. So. Okay. Still sad. Just super sad. Sure. I think of where he was.
There goes his Back to the Future 4.
Last thing that I have is that Baby Yoda has been canceled.
Oh, for what? For eating the eggs?
For eating the eggs. People, sorry, spoiler for people who didn't see Mandalorian 2 weeks ago, episode 2. Genocide, murder. This is what we're promoting. We're promoting the eating.
People need to get a life. People need to get a life. And anyways, he redeemed himself this week. So let it play out, folks.
Nobody cared that he was eating those spiders. That was okay.
Yeah. Well, he ate a frog in the first season, didn't he?
Yeah, he eats whatever he can find. He's an animal. Oh yeah, but massive push for Baby Yoda to be canceled. They can kiss my butt.
Whatever.
All right, we're done with the Hollywood news. On to DC discussion.
I actually had some DC news this week.
Woo-woo.
There was some discussion about Wonder Woman 84. I don't know if you followed that at all. That it's rumored that it's going to hit HBO Max 2 weeks after its release. They want to stick with that release in Christmas and then push it to HBO Max in January. So, again, like I was just saying before, if anyone's leery about going to the theater right now, things like that, it's coming home in 2 weeks. Why not just wait?
Why are you telling us this?
Yeah.
They did this with Mulan. And with other ones that we're mentioning. Don't tell me that, because now I'm not going to go to the theater, especially now that, numbers are rising and stuff. I don't want to risk anything if I could just wait 2 weeks on it.
I want to know officially, though, before I go, whether it's going to drop or not, so that way I can decide if I want to go to the theater. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think it is time to put that movie out. It's getting to New Mutants territory, where it's like, that thing was filmed 2 years ago. Let me see it.
Sure. Sure.
We're getting a spin-off from Black Lightning on CW for Painkiller.
I'm all in on this.
Yeah, we're getting a backdoor pilot episode in season 4. It's going to be episode 7 in February of 2021. That's what they're planning. And we had talked about it before. We really like the character. It's one of the standouts of the show. And they kind of already set it up, I feel like, last season, where they're like kind of sending him off on his own. And I want to follow his story, so why not?
I'm with you. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. All right. What else do we have here? My notes are crazy. Look at this. I got lots of notes today. Oh, well, we talked a little bit off air before we started, but do we want to get into the Zack Snyder thing?
Yeah, well, the first thing of note, all these reshoots, it turns out the reshoots are only going to account for about 5 more minutes of extra footage into the show.
Yeah, which I don't get, because I read an article earlier this week where he said it's now 6 chapters with an epilogue as well.
Ooh,
so how long is this thing?
And he also came out and admitted he has a Justice League Part 2 that he could then do theatrically, and he has a Man of Steel 2 ideas that he can also do. So,
and didn't he talk about something for more with Robin as well, like with Batman, and like he has all sorts of the ideas. So they 100%,
I feel, are now restoring the Snyderverse. Like, they're just gonna like try and
maybe they'll just keep it on HBO Max, and that's fine. Like, keep it these separate stories. You can have your theatrical stories, you can have this, whatever. If it works, it works.
But to that, today was the anniversary of Justice League dropping the movie or whatever. So he's like, "Oh, I'm going to give you a brand new trailer." It wasn't brand new. That shit was just in black and white. There was 2 little snippets in there that were different from the first one, but it was essentially the same thing in black and white. I'll be honest, this is the first real negative thing for me in this entire movement that I said. I was like, this is a waste.
Yeah, I don't need to see the same trailer again. Same music, even, like, at least give me a different song, something.
Which is weird, because remember, he had to pull it down because of the musical rights.
Oh, really? Mm.
They had some debate where they wanted him to, so they pulled it all down, and people thought, oh, something bad happened. He came out and was like, no, I just didn't make sure that the rights for the song got cleared first, apparently. So then they put it all back up or whatever. I'll be honest, though, this trailer in the black and white, some aspects of it were nicer. They looked cooler.
I was going to say, I'd almost like to watch it in black and white, and I wonder if they will present it that way. Maybe give you the option or something. That'd be kind of cool. Because he seems like he loves the black and white stuff, all the photos he shares. Because then he shares something, too, this week about Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, he put the first look picture of Martian Manhunter, yeah.
So he loves the black and white stuff, so maybe we'll get it in black and white.
I'm good on DC.
Same here. Let's go to Marvel Minute, baby.
Star-Lord is back in Love and Thunder.
Yep.
Makes sense, right? It makes total sense, because they left together. So how would you get Thor into that storyline? Like, oh, I left some new buddies. Why not just have Star-Lord in it? And
I'm wondering if that means all of them are going to be in it as well, not just him.
Right. Totally makes sense.
Groot and whatnot. All right. The other thing, WandaVision released their release date, January 15th, 2021, which, a lot of speculation was December, but they've got Mandalorian through December 18th, and then they've got Soul on Christmas, so kind of didn't have any room. I think it makes sense. Why not move it to January? That's fine.
Agreed.
But that means no original Marvel stuff in the entire, calendar year of 2020, which is cool. Besides New Mutants bullshit, I guess.
Yeah. But it is crazy, because Miss Marvel just started filming, They just started their production. They released the date for WandaVision, and then they did announce that Moon Knight will start production in January as well. So,
and you've already got Falcon and Winter Soldier probably going to drop in the spring. I'm guessing that was pretty much done.
yeah.
So, and Loki, I think, didn't they say something this week about Loki as well?
Right.
So
that's all but done.
Yeah, they do have a lot of stuff in the can or in the works for this whole Disney Plus thing. So I'm looking forward to all that. I really am, and I think it'll pan out. If Mandalorian's any indication, I think they know what they're doing over there.
And there was rumors they're supposed to do like a Black Widow movie. Maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe. They should just put that on Disney Plus.
We talked about this, and I think this has held true. Of after Endgame, we kind of on the side we're like, I could be good right now on Marvel stuff.
Yeah, I could get a good break, and this is a good opportunity for them to do that.
Maybe taking 2021 off, essentially, or 2020, excuse me, off Tuesday. I hope I didn't just jinx that. It was a good thing for them. Like, it just gave everyone a year to breathe, even though we were pining for it. And now It's like, boom, next year you got some extra stuff they're going to throw at us and go in hot and heavy.
I think so. The only thing I disagree with on it is that we're starting off with Black Widow, and it's like, oh, that's still a little bit of the old, Like, I wish we were coming into it with, oh, here's Eternals, here's Shang-Chi, here's all these people you never saw before. Like, that's where I think we should start the next phase. So Black Widow just seems a little bit of the old, which that takes me down a notch. But whatever, I'm still gonna watch it.
All valid. That's it for Marvel.
Yeah, I think. Let me double check my notes. Oh, you know what? I totally skipped something for DC. So, and it is important. So Rewind. Let me backtrack.
Flashpoint back to.
Yeah. Sylvester Stallone announced that he's going to be in Suicide Squad 2.
You know what? You're right. Yep.
Totally forgot that.
Sly is in that.
Right. It was on my notes and everything, but yeah. Fun. So that wraps up DC discussion. Yeah, Marvel minute. Okay. That wraps up Marvel. So let's go forward. All right, going forward this week, theatrical side, we have limited releases of a couple films. Jiu-Jitsu, the Nick Cage crazy movie. Mm-hmm. So that's getting a limited release, as well as Girl, the movie with Bella Thorne, and Vanguard, which, I don't know if you saw the trailer. We didn't talk about it on trailers, but Jackie Chan has a new movie, Vanguard. Oh. So kind of some interesting, fun stuff hitting the theater there in a limited capacity, if you feel like going out or if you live somewhere safe where your stuff's open.
Cage releases a Jiu-Jitsu movie the same weekend that Jackie Chan releases a movie.
Yeah, what are they doing there? They should team up. Yeah, team up.
Crossover.
Yeah. All right. Right now, as we're recording, Lego Star Wars Holiday Special is available on Disney Plus. I wanted to watch it before we recorded, didn't have a chance, but I will be watching that in the next few days. So next week we will have a review of that. I'm sure you'll get to it as well. I think it's like 45 minutes long. So
that will kick off our Christmas review season for you guys.
There you go. We're getting a couple other big releases this week. Run on Hulu. This was the movie with Sarah Paulson. I wanted to see this. I would have went to the theater to see this, so I'm jazzed. We're going to get it at home on Hulu. As well as Amazon Prime is dropping Small Axe this weekend, which is a 5-film series by, what's his name? Why am I spacing on the director's name? He released these films at the film festivals earlier this year, and they're dropping them, I think, one a week. So it's playing out as like an anthology kind of thing, like a TV series, but it's 5 separate films. Steve McQueen is the director of these. So I'm excited. I want to watch all of them. They're all basically, full-length movies, but they're dropping them weekly starting this week. Let me give you a quick breakdown here. I know the one is like a musical. You've got, so the first one is Mangrove, which I think is about a police story, and it's starring John Boyega. So looks really cool. I'm looking forward to all these. Letitia Wright is in here. I think she's in the musical one. So it's good people involved. I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's something interesting and new. But it's weird because I don't think they're going to be eligible for Oscars, even though they are basically full-length films. It's because they're releasing it as like a TV format. So
gotcha.
Maybe an Emmy thing next year. We're getting Princess Switch 2 on Netflix. If you're looking for a new Christmas movie, you can't go wrong with Vanessa Hudgens. I never watched Princess Switch 1. Sorry. Animaniacs is back.
She's a fantastic follow on Instagram.
True. But so can you imagine if we had 2 of her? Amazing.
This is why we don't have female listeners.
Or patrons. Bye, Lisa. Animaniacs comes back to Hulu this weekend. So if you like the Animaniacs, that's launching.
Yeah.
Marvel 616, which is a documentary project that they have launching on Disney Plus. I'm going to try and check that out as well. So we'll probably have a
Cool.
discussion on that next week.
Groovy.
And there's a Belushi documentary on Showtime this weekend. So all those things are in your going forward. Like I said, I think next week I'll at the very least watch Run, Lego Star Wars, probably the Small Axe, try and jump into that, and the Marvel 616. So we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about next week.
I like it. I like it a lot. On Thursday, you guys will get your poll that you guys can vote on. Please do that. Share that. Have all your friends jump on there as well. Try and sway the vote in your favor. Then on Saturday, the Superhero Secret Cinema will be back, and you can jump on there, try and figure that one out. And once again, you can respond in a multitude of ways. You can comment below, slide into our DMs, or text, or leave a voicemail with your answer. We have not gotten a voicemail response yet for any of the cinemas or the polls. If you guys get the poll and you see that, you know what, someone put on the poll, none of these, I think was their response, like none of these. I was like, buddy, you're a punching the nose. Like, okay, that's fine. That's your choice. But folks, you're allowed to comment what you are watching.
I was going to say, I put it in there every time. Comment below any other choices. Like, please do. Please start that conversation. And like you said, leave us the voicemail. Yeah,
that all works. But then as far as releases that we have dropped for you guys, it's time to catch up. It's time for you to subscribe to that patreon.com. Take Two Podcasts, as low as $1 a month. You got a whole bunch of episodes in there that you can binge and listen to. And the other thing with the Patreon, I failed to mention, those apps are like 30 to 45. None of those apps really go as long as our regular show. So you can knock them all out quicker, obviously. They're less time. Also, if you put it at 1.5 speed, we go really fast.
Well, it's just like more fun. It's not, necessarily time dependent like these are with your news and your new releases. This is a lot of just personal stuff, a lot of looking back. It's fun. It's good discussions.
Totally agree. And then, of course, we have spotlights in the feed and things you guys can jump back in and re-binge some Take Two Podcast. Again, please hit us up on the socials. We'd love to hear from you at Take Two Podcast for Twitter. 434-602-1931 is the phone number. Facebook, Instagram, follow both of those pages. And ratings and reviews. It's been a minute since we've gotten one, and we know you're out there. We would love to get 5-star rating and review from each and every one of you. That was greatly appreciated. Don't forget that interview from earlier that you heard, the Guardian Project, Mark Pelligrino, Andrew Rossow. They're doing good things. They're doing things in a positive way. Jump on, follow those guys, and let them know that you heard about their project through Take Two Podcast. That would help us out a lot, too.
Yeah, I think it's a Kickstarter that's still open for another few days or so, about a week. So, jump on and help them if you can.
For episode 214, have a great night, everybody.
See ya.